Hey, is this Cheryl?
It is.
Hey, Cheryl, my name's Pace. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, I'm partners with Brian. I shouldn't say I'm partners with Brian. I'm his one of the guys that finances some of his deals.
Uh-huh.
And I just had a quick question. I was just going through all the deals I need to fund for the next couple of weeks and couple of months, and I saw your address pop up. It's the house on Autumn Street, right?
Yes.
And I was like, why is Cheryl not selling this house on seller finance? She'd probably get more money long term. And I thought I'd just call you and see why you guys were just doing a cash deal.
So what are you talking about?
Well,
not following you.
A lot of times our sellers will say, hey, I want this number on a cash situation, right? And whatever that number is, could be 100 grand, could be $1 million. Mm-hmm. And then I get other sellers that say, hey, I want to avoid paying capital gains, or I want to, kind of reduce my tax burden. And I also want to make some interest on the price. And so what they'll do is they'll become the bank and they'll allow us to make payments long-term, and thus making a lot more money and also lowering their tax burden. And so I'm calling you and I'm saying, hey, does she need the cash right now, or is she willing to actually go that route and take payments and make more money?
No, I don't think that's something that I'm interested in.
Can you tell me why? I'm always curious.
Well, for one thing, I don't exactly understand all that.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. Cause here's what I've learned in all my years of doing this. There's 3 reasons why a seller won't sell to you on seller finance. And the number 1 reason is because they don't understand it. Uh-huh. And the number 2 reason is because they need the cash like right now. Sometimes we get people that are like, hey, my daughter's getting married. I need the cash. Right.
Right.
And then some people go, I just don't want to do it. And it sounds like you just don't understand it.
Right. Well, I mean, and that was one of the things I discussed with Brian, that we're trying to build up that account and put money into it. We've got an idea and interest in possibly trying to buy a vacation rental somewhere. So we're, just maybe thinking about liquidating this one, possibly another one. My brother-in-law, he is going to be coming into some money as well because his mother passed away. So he's going to be, getting that estate. And so we've been talking to them about going in on something together.
Like an Airbnb or something?
Yeah, an Airbnb or, something that would be managed. But yeah, so
you're looking for the cash so you can utilize that as a down payment on another deal.
Exactly. Or pay for it in cash.
Got it. But what if you could find another seller that would sell to you on seller finance? That would be something you don't have to get a loan for.
Well, like I said, I don't want to get a loan. Our goal would be to buy it in cash.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to give me 30 seconds and then I'm going to hang up with you, because it sounds like we got the answer that we needed. And I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
So this is like, you're looking at it from are you a Dave Ramsey fan?
I love Dave Ramsey. Yeah, in fact, that's one of our
How
other
did I know?
right now.
How did I know?
How did you know? Yes, we are seriously considering putting our house, our personal home, on the market, and then buying something smaller, so we will have no mortgage. We'll be debt free.
Love it. Okay, cool. So I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan, and I could just tell you're a Dave Ramsey fan as well. I could just tell. Mm-hmm. I love him. However, I do fight with him on a couple of things. So, for example, if I have a home that's paid off free and clear, and I decide I'm going to sell it on seller finance, what that means is I become the bank, right? So I'm selling it to a Brian, or I'm selling it to somebody else, and I receive not only the number I want, but I also receive interest on that number. So What was the purchase price you guys agreed on again?
56.
56. So let's say you sell it at 56,000, but you add interest on top of that. You probably end up selling that house ultimately with all the payments for like $105,000 or $106,000 long term. What a lot of our sellers are doing is they're taking the cash flow from that purchase or that sale, and they're having that cash flow pay off the other home. So essentially they got a free home by collecting all that interest on their first home. It gets a little bit confusing, but I look at it and I'm like, man, if they're really trying to amplify their wealth, then seller finance is always the way to go. But again, a diehard Dave Ramsey fan is always hard to convince.
Right. Yeah. And again, we have the renter that's in there now, he expressed that he wanted to buy it.
Oh yeah. I would never sell or finance to a
financing.
renter. Never sell or finance to a renter.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, nope, I'm not a bank. I have no desire to do anything like that.
Yeah. Every time we buy a house, seller finance from another seller that, they tried to do it with another tenant. They're like, oh no, I've done this before and it crashed and burned. And I say, oh, well, it's because you probably sold it to a tenant. And they go, how did you know? And I go, because tenants always burn you. And they never actually come through. They give you a small down payment, and then they stop making payments after like 3 months.
Exactly. And then they go and they do stupid stuff to the house and they ruin it and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah. So
Got it. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you just proving my point. Because right now on my board, there's a rule in our office. There's only 3 reasons why a seller will not sell to you on seller finance. Number 1, they're confused by it. Number 2, they need the money for a specific reason. Or 3, they just don't like it. And I don't think it has anything to do with you not liking. I think you really just need the money for a specific purpose. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Dave Ramsey is awesome, by the way.
I agree. I think so too.
Where are you guys looking for a house?
You mean to downsize into?
Oh, is that what you're doing? You're not doing like an investment property, like an Airbnb or something?
Oh yeah, no, for that money. Yeah, that we have our sites on like in the Smokies. We really like Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. But it doesn't have to be that touristy. So something with that kind of feel, mountain, cabin, that type of thing.
Love it. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate you. I'm just on Brian's side. I'm the one that writes a lot of checks for the deals that he buys. And I always am curious why somebody won't want to make more money, but now I get it.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling.
Of course. Thanks for the chat. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. Okay. So a couple things. Again, Brian, now there's the answer to your question. What do you do if a seller won't sell to you on seller finance? Have somebody else call that seller and act as if they're the funding partner for your deals and say, hey, literally memorize that line and even say the shit that I said to the seller. Hey, I've been doing this 10 years and I only see 3 reasons why somebody won't sell on seller finance.